This is What the Floor from TNA Supply Company, Inc., a podcast for the flooring industry. I'm Holiday Van Aram.
And I'm Michael Gurria. We're going to explore the hot topics of the flooring industry with a little humor and a new set of eyes.
All right. Hi, Michael.
Hello, Holiday. It's good to see you.
Good to see you, too. We're in our podcasting studio.
That's right.
Which is not fancy by any means, but we're making it work.
We will.
So we're doing our first episode of our podcast.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm excited.
It is very exciting. I feel a little nervous about letting other people listen to this after the fact.
For sure. It's going to be good, though. Hey, gotta learn.
Exactly. So I think our podcast is going to be very important to our customers, important to other folks in the flooring industry. I hope that we have an opportunity to explore some topics that maybe don't get a lot of recognition or time to be discussed.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of topics that just don't get talked about, right? People have questions all the time. They're afraid to ask them, or they just go on without really ever even learning about that because no one talks about them. So I think it's a great opportunity to do that for people.
Very true. So today we're going to talk about PVC Free Flooring.
The exciting world of PVC Free Flooring.
It is. It's very exciting, but to what you just said, people are a little confused about it.
Yeah, no
for
doubt.
Sure.
Yep.
Don't really understand what it is or why it's important.
Or worried that it's just another kind of title or greenwashing name. You know, I think there's a lot of negative feedback with sometimes the green story. Yeah,
and I feel like we've been bringing out products that are PVC free for several years now, and they don't always work.
Right, or they're way too expensive.
Yes, so hopefully we can maybe dispel some rumors or myths about PVC flooring as we go through this.
Absolutely, yeah.
So let's dive right in. My first question, what is PVC flooring and what is PVC free flooring? What is PVC? Why does it matter? What is it? And lucky for you, I did a little Google search.
Well, good for you.
Yes.
I'm interested to hear.
Flooring that does not contain PVC or polyvinyl chloride, which is what PVC stands for.
Right.
It is a tough, chemically resistant synthetic resin.
Yeah, I've also heard it referred to as a dirty plastic.
A dirty plastic. Well, that's great. We got a lot of pretty dirty plastic.
Yes, we do.
A lot of flooring is made with PVC.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's never really been a problem. So let's talk more about what PVC is.
Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about this, and as I've done research, I mean, PVC is just in everything. I think one of the most common products we think about, because it's in the name, is PVC piping. You go to Home Depot, it's used in so many different ways and in different things, but PVC piping is the most popular. But, children's toys, containers, you touch PVC every day.
The table we're sitting in front of is,
Correct.
I'm sure, got lots of PVC in it, but it is extremely reliable.
Yeah.
And it's been fairly cheap in the past.
Yep.
And we've just been able to incorporate it into so many different types of products. Like you said, it's in probably a little bit of everything that you touch all day long.
It is. I guess, this isn't so much a PVC is bad podcast as a why would we want products that are PVC free, and trying to hit on that. What makes these important?
PVC content is in a lot of the products that we sell.
Yeah.
It's been extremely popular for, what do you think, how many years now has PVC flooring been probably one of the most talked about types of floors?
I would think for at least the last 10 years, if not much longer than that.
Yeah, we started out with the glue-down luxury vinyls.
Yep.
And then they went click. There are a lot of problems with it, trying to figure out how to make them click together and not blow back up.
And I think also just the recipe they were made from, right? They couldn't get it right. It took a while.
Yes. And then we went into WPC, added a whole bunch of other items, wood, polymer core, and limestone, and all sorts of other things. SPC, that was next.
Yeah, stone polymer cores. So you got, a lot of people are putting clay, and fillers in there. They're brittle.
Messing with the recipe, changing it up.
Exactly.
And now we're to a point where we're starting to take back out that PVC and continue to mess with that technology and that recipe.
Yeah. So, and that's why we're here today to talk about, how do we remove that? Does it affect the product, and where do we go from there?
So one of my other questions is, what is the need that's being addressed? Why is taking the PVC out necessary? You mentioned it's called a dirty plastic.
Yeah. So I think one of the big things I read about was off-gassing. PVC products off-gas up to 18 months. I mean, that was just something that kind of blew me away. Thinking about, the children in our homes, our pets, and we live on these floors. So to have a product that's off-gassing for that long can affect our health.
Exactly. One of the things that I've been thinking about recently was with all the price increases is how much PVC, the price of it has gone up over the last few years.
Yeah.
And since it's contains some of the same things that are in oil and gas, that price is going to continue to go up with the current issues over in Europe.
Absolutely. I mean, that's going to continue to be affected. I think we've already seen it start.
Yeah. So one thing that I feel like happens when we are building new types of products is the technology continues to change. So I feel like sometimes we're not even necessarily solving a need, but we're just finding better ways to make things with technology. And that's something that I've seen with some of the research that I did on the products that we are selling and some of our sister company is selling and that we have seen out in the market, is just trying to find a better way to build a floor.
And I think people are, can be resistant to it at first because it is different, right? We're comfortable selling what we are having success with.
Don't change that.
No, but as these new products come in, we have to take a hard look, especially from a product management standpoint of, why would we bring it on? And then, what benefit, what does it, what need does it meet?
Is it improving what we already have?
Right.
All right. Well, I think that it's time for us to dive a little bit deeper. So we've got a handful of products that we want to talk about, some that we will name by name because we would like you to know about them because we're selling them.
Correct.
And some other things that we'll mention in addition to those.
All right, Holiday, as we look at what kind of products are PVC free, linoleum is one of the oldest products that's always been recognized as PVC free. Why is that?
Well, PVC free linoleum has always been a thing because linoleum is completely naturally made. We just brought on Tarkett as a distributor at TNA Supply Company, and one of the products that I was very excited about bringing on was having access to linoleum. So it's been around forever, 120 years Tarkett's been making linoleum flooring. Linoleum is made from entirely natural materials like linseed oil. That's where it gets its name from. Like I said, they've been making it for over 120 years. And they never once considered putting PVC in it. So it's always worked just fine. But linoleum has superior resistance to abrasions, stains, and chemical staining.
Right.
It's built to withstand heavy traffic and heavy rolling loads. 96% rapidly renewable materials.
Wow.
So even 120 years ago, they were able to put together a product that withstands pretty much anything and everything. Doesn't have to be recoated a whole bunch, keeps the stains off of it. And it's also carbon negative. We listened to a training with Tarkett the other day, and that was one of their most carbon friendly items is they're actually negative because of how natural the product is itself. So it's pretty incredible.
Yeah. So another product that we're really excited about because we're just about to launch it with TNA is ORCA.
Yes, from KronoSpan.
Yes, from KronoSpan. So ORCA stands for Organic Rigid Core Board Anti-Static.
It's a super sexy name.
It really is. But that doesn't say that it's PVC free.
No, it doesn't. But it starts with organic.
Yep.
And I think that that's the one thing that you really have to stop and explain. We've done a lot of presentations on ORCA over the last few months, and I feel like we start to explain the organic story, and the customer's eyes kind of glaze over, and they're thinking, I don't understand or why you're telling me all of this.
Yes.
But it's important.
It is. And
I'm not sure that we are doing it justice when we do the explanation. So ORCA being organic, the only content in this product is wood fiber that's been mechanically processed multiple times to make it super small. So really small wood fibers. Then so that's 90% of the product.
Right.
The other 10% is special. We're not going to tell you exactly what they are because they're super secret sauce.
Sure.
Organic binding agents. So it's, again, organic binding agents instead of chemical binding agents that aren't organic. And that surrounds all of those really tiny fibers. So that's really great, and that makes it organic. But the fact that it's made out of these really tiny wood fibers and has that organic binding agent makes it extremely low swell.
Right.
So apparently, because the wood fibers are so tiny, the water just can't get in there to soak in and let the product swell.
Right. It just won't penetrate it the same way, so you won't have, the laminates of old that a dog bowl would spill, and 30 minutes later you'd have, bubbling and puckering of the actual core material. You just won't have that. This is the only quote unquote laminate product that we're actually calling waterproof.
You can put this in bathrooms.
Yep.
You can put it in the kitchen. Doesn't matter. You're not going to have problems. Now, I'm not going to tell you that you're not going to ever have any kind of water issue if you've got the dishwasher that floods and then you don't catch it for numerous days because you're out of town, but that's not going to be your only problem.
No, you're going to have many more issues. That's an insurance claim at that point. And I think, maybe someday we do a podcast on what is water resistant, waterproof, and how do we kill.
What's an insurance claim and what's not?
Yeah, this waterproof story in the industry has gotten carried away, I think, from a lot of levels. So, that's a topic for another day.
So the other thing about ORCA, because of the organic wood fibers and the organic binding agents, is it's not affected by temperature.
Right.
The same way that PVC, plastic material, resins and softeners are affected by heat. Heat and plastic, those things don't mix.
No, they don't.
As a child, I had a plastic tea set, and I left it very close to the heater. It was never the same.
Yeah, you're drinking out of something different at that point.
Exactly. Never the same. But that's what happens. So if you have a product that you expect to put next to a sliding glass door and have no curtains, no blinds, anything, yep, and you've got a lot of sun coming in, the floor is going to get hot no matter what.
It is. It's a magnifier. Those sliding glass doors really act as a magnifier. And so we've done tests at homes where you're reading, with a heat gun, you're reading 150 degrees or more, and it's 70 degrees outside. So it's just that sun beating through that slider, amplifies the heat that much more. And then that's where you get your issues from.
Exactly, which is why me and the cat are always leaning against the sliding glass door. Right. It's nice and toasty.
For sure.
Nice and toasty. But ORCA will be perfect for homes with, and we have a lot of these in the Pacific Northwest because we love our view of the mountain and the trees and having that sunshine come in. Floor to ceiling windows, sliding glass doors. ORCA is a product that's not going to have problems with the temperature.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other cool thing about it is it's an anti-fade product. So it's not going to fade like a lot of our products do or oxidize that same way. So if you put an area rug down, it won't, the material that's exposed won't oxidize like the material under the rug that's not getting that oxidation. So an anti-fade product, that's cool. We don't have a lot of products that have anti-fade in them.
That's another great benefit. And we'll tie this back to the organic, carbon neutral story, because there's no PVC vinyl content in there. ORCA is carbon neutral, and that is because the production process of transforming a tree into ORCA emits less carbon than the tree itself had stored.
Right.
So KronoSpan only uses wood from sustainably managed forests, in addition to that, enabling this product to be climate friendly.
Yeah, and what I love about this is, this is a product that's, like we said, 90% wood based in its core. And so PVC doesn't mean you're using, polypropylene or there's many different items that can make up a PVC free floor.
And this is one of them. So we've got the linoleum with the linseed oil. We've got ORCA with the wood fibers. And now let's talk about some of those other options.
We've got a couple brought to us by InHaus. We're excited to have these. So we've got Moto on the TNA side, and then Sono and Elandura on our sister company side.
Yeah, very exciting products.
Yeah.
But the Sono Eclipse and Elandura are made a little differently than the Moto product. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about what makes Sono Eclipse and Elandura PVC free?
So yeah, Sono Eclipse and Elandura are both made using polypropylene. So polypropylene is what baby bottles are made out of. So it's a very safe product. It doesn't off-gas the same way that PVC does. So it's also very dimensionally stable, as we've been talking about with some of the other PVC-free products.
Yeah, you pop a baby bottle into the microwave.
Yeah.
Not gonna be a melted mess afterwards.
No, it's not. Yeah. So that's where we get back to the stability, right? You can go to, I think, -40 to 150 is what they advertise.
Which is important in our territory. We've
huge.
got Alaska, out in Montana. We were in Montana not too long ago. It was pretty cold.
Yes, it is.
And you've got a lot of cabins out there that don't have any heat on.
Yeah, and they're approving it for those 3-season cabins. So, they're going to turn off the heat and walk away. And there's places where, it's insulated, but you're still getting down, when it's -30, -50 outside. It's cold inside.
Yeah. Well, we were having this conversation with a customer yesterday. The difference between laminate flooring and SPC luxury vinyl flooring, you're going from wood to plastic. Plastic, when it's cold, is very brittle.
Right.
Plastic, when it's hot, is very melty.
Melty.
So to have a product that is made of polypropylene that kind of doesn't do either one of those things that you expect the plastic to do,
Right.
that's super helpful for a floor.
It is. And one of the things I was most impressed by with this product is in the next couple months, they will start printing a Recycle 5 label on the back of this product.
I love this.
Yeah, which means you can actually unclick your floor, 5, 10, 20 years from now, take it to your local recycle center instead of taking it to the landfill.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we've never
never had a product that you could do
No.
that with.
No.
I mean, there's carpet recycling programs and different recycling programs, but the one thing that I've been concerned about for numerous years since the time that we started selling luxury vinyl was what is going to happen when we start pulling all of this out and putting in more and more plastic flooring all over the place. It's just going to a dump.
Yeah.
And that, to me, I'm not overly concerned about the environment, but I'm concerned to a very certain amount that it's bothered me for years.
Yeah.
We've got to figure out how to fix this problem. I love that InHaus is to the point where their technology, you can pull the board up. It's marked as to what type of recycling it can be done, and you can take it to a recycling center.
No, I think it's potentially a game changer, right, for the future. We have a lot of, millennials coming into buying homes now. They're doing their research. They're looking more into what makes up these floors. I'm a wood guy. I was kind of born and raised into the wood industry. Even factory finished wood, you put that in the landfill, it's going to be there for a very long time. And then you've got the issue with some of the aluminum oxide, obviously, decomposing and leaching into the ground. I mean, that's not a great scenario. So to have a product that we can actually recycle from day one is huge. The other thing I was so impressed, this is another great story, is the off-gassing. We've been talking a lot about off-gassing, and they do testing. So they put their material in a chamber, and they had it third-party tested. And after 3 days, the testing facility stopped the testing because they thought their equipment was broke because they were getting no readings. There was no off-gassing, zero. So then they restarted it, and in fact, that was right. There was actually no off-gassing from this product. So that's how clean it is compared to some of the other products that we do have.
Dad, that's amazing. I just think about, we're so health conscious at this point in time. We've been dealing with coronavirus for several years now. We've got people that are living with cancer and living with all sorts of other health concerns. Lots of people allergies and asthma are worse than they've ever been. So to feel safe in your home that you can pick paint and flooring and all sorts of other products to go in your home that are not going to be harming you in any kind of way, that's amazing.
No, it is. And, we've, as we did the research here, talking about phthalates. Phthalates have been removed from most flooring now, but they're a carcinogen. I mean, they were causing issues with people. And, we're spending more and more times in our homes. A lot of people are working from home more and more, but they're looking into products that they're confident and comfortable with. I think some of these PVC products are a great option for that.
Yeah, for sure, especially when they're no longer costing so much more than the other types of products in the category.
Yeah, I think you just hit the nail on the head. Costing was a big kind of deterrent, right? It was way more expensive, usually $1.50 a square foot more expensive for PVC free products. The other thing that I was looking at is the colorations were never very good. They took out the PVC, but then they always lacked on the colorations. And so they would cost more and they didn't look very good. Well, I really think that's changing some of the products we've already talked about. I mean, they're great visuals. They have, more plank options, less pattern repeats than some of our standard products.
Yeah, for sure. So another product that InHaus has is Moto.
Yep.
Coming out from the TNA side. This product's made in Japan instead of Germany.
Yep.
So just right off the bat, that's different. We don't have any other products coming out of Japan.
We don't, but I love that we're diversifying where we're pulling products from.
And Moto is also polypropylene. So polypropylene mineral composite core is what they call it. Waterproof, dent-proof, and minimizes telegraphing.
Yeah.
Those are some pretty awesome things for especially the commercial side
Absolutely.
of our world. So Moto is engineered to meet the performance and safety requirements in today's some of their most demanding commercial spaces. We're trying to get more and more out of our floor. I feel every time we install it, we're asking it to do more and more. And Moto is supposed to be able to handle pretty much all of it. And that's because it's made of the polypropylene mineral composites.
Right.
So it does not contain any phthalates, which we just mentioned. The plasticizers is another big thing that's part of PVC flooring. Formaldehyde, heavy metals, none of that stuff are inside this product.
Yeah, I've also read they're more stain resistant, right?
Yes, more stain resistant, fade proof. And Moto has an AC6 wear layer.
Yeah, that's incredible. I don't even think, obviously in the U.S. we go up to AC5. That's considered a high commercial wear layer. But I think in Europe, they go up to a AC7 or an AC8. So, but an AC6, that's well more than we're getting here in the U.S.
Exactly. And it seems more acceptable for PVC products, ORCA and Moto, to utilize laminate abrasion class ratings to explain their story than normal PVC flooring. We just don't use those ratings.
No, you're right. We use, a 12 mil or a 20 mil, which is really that's a thickness, whereas an AC rating is an actual abrasion test, right? So, yeah.
Moto and the other InHaus products, Sono Eclipse and Elandura, there's just a dimensional stability story there that we haven't seen in a lot of other PVC flooring options.
No, and that's, it's fixing a problem. Because that's one of the things we see most in claims is stability issues. You talked about the south-facing windows and glass sliders, but stability in our market, whether you go from Alaska to Hawaii, is really our range, and then the Pacific Northwest is kind of in between. That's a large range of what we're expecting our products to perform in.
Yes. So one other product I want to mention, it's not something that we're selling, but the only reason I want to mention it is because I was going through one of our, weekly flooring, this one's Floor Covering Weekly, and this is basically an ad for Unilin, who's bringing out a product that happens to be PVC free, SPC flooring, but their whole ad is not necessarily about the PVC free aspect. It's about the dimensional stability that it creates by not having PVC in it. So they took the whole, it's buried, basically. The lead is buried down in there in the story because they're talking all about the dimensional stability that this product has because it happens to not be a PVC floor.
Okay.
So just another example of why I think we need to change the story that we're telling when we're selling these products and when we're explaining these products. the fact that it doesn't have PVC in it is not just about the green story.
Right.
It's all about that stability.
No, absolutely. So let me ask you this: Do you think the PVC free category will continue to grow?
I do. I think it will, because we now finally have the right technology to make products that are actually going to work.
Yeah, and look good.
Exactly. Look good, stand up better to what we're asking them to do.
Yeah.
The water resistance and the waterproof aspects, the just general stability of the products, the fade resistance, the stain resistance, all of those things, they're finally all wrapped up in that one package.
Yeah, if you can get a product that has, all those things tied in for even a few cents more, 10 cents more, there's a lot of customers who will pay for that nowadays.
They will. And it's not even that much more than an upgrade option. You're still paying less. And I think there are more and more people out there who are starting to understand why it's necessary for us to change our buying habits.
I agree. If that recyclability part becomes bigger, that could be, even just probably the largest game changer of this whole thing. If you can take up your floor and take it to the recycle center, that's a big deal.
Yeah, I feel like that's a big deal to the installation crew who's coming in to put in your next floor.
Yeah.
They don't have the liability of having to pay the dump fees.
They charge $1.50 a square foot to go dump stuff sometimes, you know? And if you can take it to the recycle center and away it goes to be recycled down, that's a great opportunity for all of us.
Exactly. So I do want to talk more about why or why not.
Yes.
Do you think that you asked me if I think there's going to be more and more options.
Yep.
Do we think consumers are going to be asking for more and more of these types of products? Or do we think it's not as big of a deal as it maybe seems like it is going to become?
I think you're going to find that consumers are going to start asking for these products. They're doing more research. The younger generation is taking a deeper dive. They're so comfortable on their phones and on the internet. They're taking a deeper dive into what products they're putting in their entire house, not just what they're eating. And so if we're more interested in organic, we want to eat more organic. That has not died. That has continued to grow. I think the products that we put in our home are also going to be a main factor.
Yeah, I think so. I feel like my child is way more concerned about the environment that I was, and I was way more concerned than my parents were.
Right.
And it's just going to continue to grow. And just the fact that this past year, the European Union has put in place goals to close the gap even further on climate change.
Yep.
All of those things are going to trickle down into different effects.
Well, and just this week I was reading Starbucks. In 2025, they won't have cups anymore. Your standard paper Starbucks cup, they'll either lend you a cup or you can bring your own. That's the initiative. You've got Apple trying to be carbon neutral. You've got Starbucks, and all these companies that we're very familiar with are also making, a play to be more carbon neutral, to be more environmentally friendly.
Yeah, so ORCA and Sono Eclipse Elandura are all made in Germany.
Yep.
European Union has a 55% goal of having fewer greenhouse gas emissions by 2030. How are they going to get there? The way the factories are built and the emissions that they're putting out, which also means they have to change the way that they're building their products and what they're building their products from.
Yeah.
Which is exactly why they're moving to taking the PVC out of some of these products.
Absolutely. And as we see the price increase of PVC continue to go up, that's going to play a factor in that as well, right? These products won't be more expensive. They may be less expensive.
Especially when they start using the recycled material that they previously made to make the flooring again.
That's a great point.
It's got that trickling down effect. It's all connected. Now it's time for Walk the Plank. The segment where we debate some ridiculous pet peeve that only flooring industry professionals would understand and can't decide on.
Today's topic is LVP versus LV versus LT versus
LVS.
Whatever else you want to say.
I'm throwing out a new one.
All right. Do you have a favorite?
I hate them all.
Okay.
Personally. It's confusing.
Very confusing.
So I started in the flooring industry right before these products started really taking off. So I've been creating price lists and marketing sheets from the very beginning of these products. And for someone who has OCD problems already, it's very frustrating that no one can be consistent with their abbreviations.
Agreed, 100%. I was talking to somebody and they used this great word, nomenclature. What's funny is when you hear a word like that, then I heard it like 5 times in the next 4 days in a different context. So I love it. I had to look up how to spell it, nomenclature. That's such a great word. But yeah, so I asked a lot of industry people because Holiday, I had the same experience. I came from a wood background, and I used to just fake it. I used to just throw out like whichever one I felt like saying that day, and then I'd kind of look at people and be like, dude, did I say it right? Because I didn't know which one I was supposed to be using.
I don't think anybody knows what they're supposed to be using.
They don't.
So to me personally, LV stands for luxury vinyl.
Agreed.
That's a whole category of products. So I tend to correct people down to LV. What I really hate is when somebody says LVT, but it's a wood plank visual.
Absolutely.
That drives me insane. It is not a tile, which is what that stands for, luxury vinyl tile. And I understand that it's a loose piece of flooring. Maybe you could call that a tile. Technically,
in its essence,
maybe,
it's a tile, right?
But we sell planks and we sell tiles. So use the right one, or vice versa. It'll get used as LVP, and they're talking about a stone tile visual.
Right. So I talked to one manufacturer who calls it LT, and I said, why do you call it LT? And their response was, we just wanted to be different.
Oh, that's great. Thanks a lot.
So that's the only reason it's called LT.
That is so rude. So I also found that abbreviation, and my assumption was that it doesn't have vinyl in it.
Right.
And that's why they weren't calling it LVT. They're just calling it luxury tile because they didn't technically have vinyl in it.
Sure.
But if they're just making it up, that's just rude.
No, they are. Well, they want
it.
It's a differentiator. The hard part is, you can take it one step further and you go, okay, now in the LVP or LVT category, you've got WPC and SPC and EVP and MGO, and there's all these. And like we talked about today, PVC Free products.
Exactly. Well, and you throw out MLF, multi-layer flooring, which technically should be WPC and SPC shouldn't be considered a luxury vinyl.
Agreed.
It should be in this new multi-layer flooring category.
Okay.
But I don't think many people even realize that's a flooring category now.
Well, I agree. And then there's EVP, which is engineered vinyl plank. And that's confusing when you put that term engineered in there. To me, again, being a wood guy, I automatically go to engineered flooring, engineered hardwood, I should say.
Yeah. Well, isn't everything that's not solid hardwood engineered?
Yes, it is.
Right? It doesn't just come out of the ground like that, right?
It does not.
No, it sure doesn't. So even internally, when I'm doing sales reporting and I'm looking up information, we've got product codes, grouping things together that are the EV, but this is these products, I wouldn't even classify them that way. It's a whole big mess. As every new abbreviation comes out, somebody's like, "Oh, I like that one better. I'm going to start using that."
Yeah, and when you're doing product training, it's brutal. When these terms start flying around, people's eyes just start to glaze over, and they're like, "I don't know what you're talking about." But it's that confusing. So as an industry, do we pick one or two? I think, unfortunately, we're stuck with all of them. But it would sure be nice to land on one or two.
I sure would be nice.
The WTF podcast is going to establish the correct nomenclature.
Yes, we're gonna walk the talk. We're gonna make a decision, and we're gonna stick to it.
Okay.
And push everyone the same direction. We're gonna forcibly interrupt their conversations and tell them that they're wrong.
Yeah, we could be those annoying people that walk around at shows and correct people.
Already am.
Done. Yeah, too late.
Sign me up. I'm one of those people. But what is it? So do we break this into luxury vinyl, LV versus multi-layer flooring?
Unfortunately, I think I'd love to, but I just think that's a challenge because I think SPC even WPC is going to be put in the LVP category
Uh-huh.
as long as it's a plank visual, right?
Okay. Right.
So then any tile visuals would be an LVT.
They should be. And if you're being more generic, it just needs to be luxury vinyl.
Agreed. So the overarching industry could be luxury vinyl for this category.
Yes.
And within it, there's LVP and there's LVT.
Yes.
Right.
That's acceptable.
Okay. So does SPC fall under these?
I guess it depends if it's a plank or a tile.
Okay.
We can't even decide amongst ourselves.
I think that, unfortunately, folks, the debate continues. We'd love any feedback.
Yeah, what if anybody listening out in the world of listeners, how do you feel? You can send us a message.
Let us know. One, that you listened. We love you for that.
Hashtag WTF. All right, so if you've got an opinion about our Walk the Plank segment, feel free to reach out to us on the socials.
Please.
TA_supply if you're on the Insta. That's what the kids call it. I call it Instagram, and then I get a dirty look from my child. On the Facebook, where I'm usually at, where the old people are, T_A Supply Company. Hashtag Walk the Plank. Hashtag What the Floor. Mm-hmm. So we see them.
Hashtag WTF.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That might find out all sorts of other things for sure.
Good point.
What the Floor is a TNA Supply Company, Inc. original production. You can find out more about us at tasupply.com or tasflooring.com.
This show is produced by Jose Morales with help from Tony Collier and Jessica Reiser. Hosted by Holiday Van Aram and Michael Gurria.
WTF.